Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next, basically, I suppose, channel update slash kind of news, core news video. This is basically just to talk about coverage for Turf Wars Part 1. So the big thing would be that usually by this time, the book is obviously out on Wednesday, I would have my non-spoiler review up. The issue this time is that Dark Horse have responded to me, and they've basically said that they won't be giving out review PDFs until after the release date, which I hope means on the release date rather than sometime after the 26th. I'll get into, I suppose, the details of that email. I'm not going to read out the full emails or anything like that, but I'll discuss them a little bit. What it means, though, is that combined with the fact that, as far as I'm aware, my local comic book store potentially won't be getting the book in on day of release. It looks like they're maybe having some supplier issues, and they may not get the book in the day it comes out. It means I may not be able to get my review content up on the day of release, let alone before that, which means that most of the content will be probably, the couple of days following the release date, and maybe even into the week afterwards. It's really unfortunate, but obviously it's completely out of my hands. It's a decision that Dark Horse have made not to give me the review copy, which I would usually have already had at this point. And then, in terms of an actual physical copy, that looks very unlikely at this stage. I still think there's some hope. I'll definitely check my local comic book store the day of release, but I can't see it happening just because it is very hit and miss over here with these books when they come out with the release date. And like, I know the book is basically all out there thanks to Amazon, and like, realistically, if I looked hard enough, could probably find the full book. But I don't really like to do the review knowing that, like, I've read it from like the scans and stuff like that. I like to know that I have an official thing, whether that be the review copy or have bought the book myself. If it absolutely comes down to it, and like, I can't get content out like until weeks from now when I can get a hold of the book, and Dark Horse aren't giving me the review copy, maybe I'll have to do that to cover the book. But for now, I'm basically, like, it'll probably be just a couple of days delay or something like that. The plan is still to do the podcast review, is to do the podcast review basically the Sunday after the release date, so that would be the 30th, I believe. The 30th of July, that's when we're planning to do the podcast review, which is the huge, big review that we always do for the book. And then, my video review will go up as soon as I can. Written review for the book will probably take a little bit longer, just because that's usually the thing that takes the most effort to do. And then, depending on when I get the book, I don't know when that will be. Now, as far as what Dark Horse said to me in the emails about why they aren't putting out giving me the review copy, what they said wasn't specifically to me, as far as I'm aware. It's not just that they don't trust me or anything. They specifically said, review PDFs will not be like going out, which to me came across as like the people that they usually give review copies to, most of them probably won't be getting review copies as well. I don't know, like, I'm not in contact with really a lot of other people who get these review copies from Dark Horse, so I don't know, they could be lying to me or what, but that's what they've said, that they don't want to put out early review copies before release because they don't want to help contribute to leaks, which I didn't really reply to them in the email because the way they worded it was kind of very blamey on the fandom for, like, oh, Amazon basically released the whole book thanks to their preview pages things, and of course the fandom looked at all of this stuff. And their reply to me came across as a bit like, I can't believe the fans did that, I thought they, respected the franchise a bit more. And, I realistically, like, probably should have replied kind of saying that, like, hold on a second, are you actually trying to tell the fandom not to, like, look at or discuss what is effectively official preview pages that Amazon have released, and you're trying to blame them for that, when realistically that's their problem, that's Dark Horse's problem, that they should be aware at this stage that that is the problem with Amazon when they put up previews for these books. That if you hit it early enough, depending on what country you're from, what level of account you have, you're going to get different pages, and if you compile all those together, you're probably going to get most of the book. It's happened before, and it happened with this book, and I didn't go into depth on this. I just basically said, okay, I look forward to reading the book when it comes out. But it was really frustrating. As well as that, like, there's other situations, like the book is on sale right now at San Diego Comic-Con. People have it. The book has had a small release at Comic-Con, but it still feels weird that people are getting it from a convention before, like, reviewers usually do. So there's that. And, like, just in general, it feels like just a weird situation of just like, look, the book has already been released. Like, you giving 1 or 2 review copies out to people, how is that going to suddenly change leaks? In that, like, I've been dealing with Dark Horse with these review copies for like 3-4 years now at this stage, and I haven't been the one behind any like leaks of pages or anything like that. They've given me official preview pages to give out before, as in like an exclusive for the site. They've given me review copies for the last, 6-7 books or something like that. So I don't get why there's this severe lack of trust that seems to be here suddenly with this book. And I get they're frustrated that the book has leaked out prior to release, but that's their problem, not the fandom's and not mine. So it feels weird that I'm going to be really, really held up with my review content this time round, basically because Amazon made a mistake. I'm excited for the book, but I think just a lot of the stuff around this book's release, the lack of news about Avatar comics, and then this, is just kind of making me just like, I just want the book, just let me review the book. The longer I sit here with other people having the book, not reading it, is just kind of like, come on, just let this actually work out properly here. I'm still excited, it's really frustrating the way everything is kind of worked out. It seems like everything's kind of going wrong. But, it should be fine. It's a few days to release, and we'll get the coverage out when I get the coverage out. If it has to be a bit later than usual, that's fine. I think there's no rush. Arguably, it kind of helps things if maybe if the reviews come out a bit later, because usually it tends to be like, I put everything out day of release, and then there's no discussion because everything just is the first day. So yeah, that's basically the situation with Turf Wars review content. Most of it will probably be delayed, and there's the reasons for why it's happening. I really, really hope Dark Horse send me the review copy on the 26th. I'm going to be emailing them on the 26th, basically as early as I can, to ask about this, because if they're going to say something like, oh, it's coming out the 27th, it's just this really weird thing of like, why? Like, what is there to be gained by having like the review come out like this later? So it's fine, but it's a very frustrating one for sure to be in, and I hope this isn't a trend that they're going to be doing from here on out. In that they're only going to give review copies out, much later. And especially, I think if I start to see a lot of places put up early reviews, and then like I'm one of the only people who like isn't getting a review copy, that just feels even weirder to me. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now with Turf Wars. And then just the final thing is, video tomorrow will probably be some sort of video covering the Korra and Avatar Dark Horse panel, which is obviously later on in the day, so it'll be pretty late compared to most of my usual uploads. Now, it obviously depends. The content of that video will depend on if there's news or if there isn't. If there is news, obviously it'll be a little bit more of an in-depth video. And if there's no news, I'll still put something up to cover the fact that there's been no news, but it'll obviously be a much shorter video, so just be aware of that. But yeah, I think that's more or less everything I want to say. Podcast this week, there realistically, like, there won't be a normal podcast. There might be some sort of panel discussion depending on what happens, but I'm not kind of guaranteeing that, just because the timing is so different from when the panel will end compared to where our usual recording time is. So yeah, that's basically everything. That's been the video for today. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation. Apologies that I won't be able to get my content out early or on the release date potentially, but that's the way it's turned out. So yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.